I want to use my router table to make a dovetail joint, but the router bit is shorter than the wood thickness. So I will try making some changes. This time, first I will use a straight router bit. This one is 10 mm in diameter, and I lift it half the way. So I will cut a socket, like this one, and I want that socket to be wide enough so the router bit shaft enters loose. So just like I did in my last video, first I wrote the sides of my workpiece. But well, I didn't expect to splinter the wood that much. I decided to screw here this piece of plywood, so when I wrote here a hole that will be the sad shape of the router bit, it will help to hold the fibers of the wood, so it won't splinter that much. Also, I will route more slowly. First I will route less than half the diameter of the router bit. And then I widen the hole until it is almost as wide as the router bit diameter. It must rest here perfectly and vertically. Like this, it is easier to hold the workpiece while I route. Finally, I got a quite clean cut. The hole with the sad shape of the router bit helps a lot to avoid splintering. I route in the middle of the board and now I have to give some shape to these fingers so they look like dovetails. So I install the dovetail router bit and I lift it just slightly above the workpiece thickness. And I route in the middle and in the sides. Well, I have some splinters there. But luckily not as many splintering as I thought. Now I draw the tails in the end of the other board I mark the narrower part of the tails and I draw the perpendicular lines. Once again I install the straight router bit and I lift it exactly to the thickness of the board. And the same I did in my last video, I will route a couple of millimeters inside the lines. Now I just have to get rid of the wood next to the lines. First I cut at something less than 1 mm from the lines. And I use a marquetry saw to get rid of the wood. I try to eliminate the wood I have left in the corners, and now I use the chisel to shape the pins. Remember that these pins are a combination of a straight finger plus a dovetail. Even so, I am not skilled using a chisel to make dovetail joints. I guess I have a poor technique. Maybe I should learn how to make them correctly before I try this experiment. But well, after some work, now I can try how the tails fit. And here I have this wooden joint. It could be worse. This gap here is the worst part. Not bad here, the same here, and I would say that here is decent. But here I have the same gap we saw before. But well, as you already know, the best part when we work with wood is that after gluing after using some wood paste to hide the mistakes, sanding, and varnishing, anything we make with wood will always look nice. But back to the point of this video, I just wanted to try a way to route a dovetail joint if the router bit is shorter than the board's thickness, and I think I get a nice wooden joint. But even with this technique, it took me a lot of work. Nothing to do with how easy it was to make the dovetail joint that I made in the previous video. And before I forget, you can follow my projects in my Instagram, link in the description. Thanks for watching. If you like this technique, don't forget to click like and share. And if you like my videos, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and to click the bell to get the notifications.